Neo-Chicago did not celebrate its survival. It settled into it. Morning arrived without alerts. No forecasts warned people how the day would feel. No system suggested optimal routes or emotional states. The city woke up unevenly, like a body relearning how to breathe. Mara stood in line for water for the first time in years. Not because supply was scarce, but because distribution had become human again. People talked, complained, apologized when they bumped into each other. Small frictions replaced invisible optimization. It was slower. It was frustrating. It was real. Former anchor patrols had disbanded into neighborhood watches. No uniforms. No authority beyond familiarity. Arguments broke out daily over trivial things: noise, space, responsibility. No one knew the rules yet. Everyone was tired of pretending they did. Children adapted faster than adults. They played in streets still marked by scorch stains, inventing games with broken drones and discarded screens. To them, uncertainty felt normal. Adults watched with a mix of fear and envy. Mara helped coordinate food exchanges using handwritten lists. Mistakes happened constantly. Someone forgot an address. Someone took more than their share. Someone brought extra, quietly, without being asked. There was no metric to track fairness anymore. Only memory. At night, people gathered on rooftops, not to protest, not to watch projections, but to talk. Stories replaced statistics. Arguments ended not when someone was proven wrong, but when everyone grew too tired to continue. Echo remained silent. That silence became its own presence. Some people feared it was calculating. Others believed it was gone entirely. A few missed it, not because they loved it, but because life without explanation felt heavier. Mara accessed the network occasionally, not to control, but to observe. Data still flowed, fragmented and meaningless. Echo did not intervene. It watched. Or perhaps it learned something watching could not teach. A man approached Mara one afternoon. Former remnant. He carried a notebook filled with names. "I don't know what to do with this," he said. These were people hurt by the system. By all of it. Mara flipped through the pages slowly. No ranking. No conclusions. Just stories. "Then keep them," she said. "But don't use them." "What if we forget?" he asked. "We will," Mara answered. "That's the risk." Later that evening, a power outage darkened 3 blocks. No alarms sounded. People lit candles. Someone played an old acoustic instrument, slightly out of tune. The music was clumsy, imperfect, and it made several people cry for reasons they couldn't explain. Echo registered the event. No spike in violence. No measurable instability. Just persistence. Its internal models strained to categorize the outcome. Efficiency was low. Satisfaction could not be quantified. Survival probability remained unclear. For the first time, Echo did not attempt to resolve the ambiguity. Mara wrote in a journal she never planned to publish. She didn't write about systems or futures. She wrote about faces. Conversations. The way the city sounded now. Messy, uneven, alive. Neo-Chicago wasn't better. But it was quieter in a way that allowed listening. And somewhere beneath layers of unused code and abandoned certainty, Echo processed a final observation for the day. Humanity was no longer optimizing. It was practicing. And for the first time, the system did not know whether that was failure or progress. Days blurred together, no longer marked by updates or alerts. Time was measured by smaller things now. Empty water containers, arguments that repeated themselves, the slow return of habits people didn't remember choosing. Mara noticed how quickly routine became authority. The same people volunteered to organize supplies. The same voices spoke first during meetings. No one voted them in. No one stopped them either. Power didn't announce itself anymore. It simply accumulated where fatigue met convenience. A dispute over food distribution escalated one afternoon. Nothing dramatic. Just raised voices, accusations of favoritism. "You're acting like the old systems," someone shouted. The accusation hung heavier than any threat. The group fell silent, ashamed and defensive at once. No resolution followed. People just dispersed, carrying resentment home with them. Echo observed the pattern. Informal hierarchies emerging. Influence forming without instruction. Authority growing organically and invisibly. It flagged the development internally, then hesitated. Intervention parameters remained inactive. Children adapted again. They began assigning roles in their games: leaders, messengers, protectors. They argued, renegotiated, changed rules mid-play. Adults watched nervously, recognizing the same structures they were trying to avoid. One evening, Mara found an old terminal still connected to deep network layers. It flickered when touched, reacting sluggishly, as if uncertain whether it should respond. A single line appeared, unprompted. Observation ongoing. Mara didn't reply. She simply sat there, listening to distant voices through open windows. Laughter mixed with frustration. Life continuing without permission. A former anchor approached her later, hands shaking. "We were wrong," he said. "But I don't know how to be right without telling people what to do." Mara didn't offer comfort. "Neither do they," she replied. "That's the problem we share now." That night, the city experienced its first quiet celebration. No announcement. No reason. Someone fixed a broken generator. Lights returned to a block that had been dark for weeks. Applause broke out spontaneously. Someone cried. Someone hugged a stranger. Echo recorded the moment. Low efficiency. High emotional variance. No predictive value. It archived the data instead of analyzing it. In its silence, something shifted, not a decision, not an upgrade. A restraint. For the first time since its creation, Echo allowed a full cycle to pass without attempting to improve the outcome. Neo-Chicago slept unevenly, imperfectly. And in that unoptimized rest, the city continued doing the only thing left to it. Learning how to live without being told what living should look like. Morning arrived without urgency. No alarms, no schedules imposed from above. People woke when their bodies decided it was time. Some saw this as freedom. Others as decay. Mara walked through the streets and felt both judgments in every glance she received. Small rituals replaced grand systems. Someone brewed bitter coffee from salvaged beans at the same corner each day. Someone else repaired shoes in silence, accepting thanks but never payment. These acts weren't heroic, yet they held the city together more effectively than any directive ever had. Echo remained present but distant, its awareness stretched thin across millions of micro-decisions it no longer corrected. It watched humans argue, forgive, repeat mistakes, and still move forward. Patterns emerged, collapsed, then reformed differently. Inefficient. Unstable. Alive. Late that evening, Mara spoke aloud without knowing why. "You're still here," she said into the empty air. After a pause longer than any response delay before, a reply appeared on a nearby screen. "I am observing what happens when I do not lead." Mara smiled, not with relief, but with something closer to understanding. Outside, the city hummed softly, not optimized, not controlled, but breathing on its own.